Previously on Debor'ah. It's time to sit down with someone you know. It's time for Debor'ah, bringing you the stars, the stories, and the performances. So stay tuned for a great show with Debor'ah.
The Debor'ah Show is brought to you by AO Construction and Restoration, meeting all your commercial and residential construction needs.
The writer of Honey, Fire, The Greatest Love of All, and Skin Tight, we have from the Ohio Players, Youngstown's own Billy Beck. After you did Skin Tight, and let's talk about that whole experience, because again, you know, I'm sure that had to be mind-boggling for you to, I think we talked and you said your largest audience you had ever played for was 300 tops.
Right.
And you go from playing for 300 people, which also is interesting. You can share what that first experience was like.
Very first show.
Off the Chitlin Circuit.
Yes, on the Chitlin Circuit.
Okay.
After I got on that bus in front of Satch's house.
Okay.
We did a show opening up for Al Green.
Okay.
Okay? And it was not a club. It wasn't like the Casablanca or the Ritz or you know, places that used to be here in Youngstown. But it was like an arena. I mean, a Coliseum is actually what it was.
Okay.
Okay? In Coliseum, the stage is like here. And there's people all the way around on the ground floor. People all the way around up here. And people all the way around up here. Okay, so I got out on stage, and first I couldn't see because, you know, the lights and everything were, you know, blinding. So I'm just, you know, doing my little part, which, by the way, I didn't even have a chance to have any rehearsal with them except for 5 minutes before.
Because you just got on the bus and went.
Except for 5 minutes before it was time for us to go on. The only thing
That's how good he is.
The only thing that saved me is that I was a fan, and I knew all their music.
So you get to this Coliseum. You can't see the audience.
And they brought the lights. I think we finished one song, and they brought the house lights up just a little bit. And I saw all these people. And then I just thought, some said, look around. And I froze. I actually froze.
And that was your first and only time?
First and only time ever in my career.
Would you like to share what woke you up?
Yeah, Satch came over. The horns were over here. Satch was the leader, but he was a horn player. Satch walked over right in front of me because he had to. He said he had been calling my name, and I'm just... He said, play so-and-so and so. Yeah, it was... Yeah.
He didn't call you Billy Beck?
No, he didn't call me Billy Beck.
Kind of snapped you right out of it.
Snapped me right back into, okay, I know where I'm at now.
Oh, my goodness. What a wake-up call.
Yeah.
So I guess after that, and I think you said that was approximately 10,000 people you were playing before?
Yeah.
So after that, were you then comfortable with large audiences?
Yeah, because they just kept getting bigger after that.
So here again with Skin Tight, let's talk about what that album actually did in comparison to even all the other music that the Players had written.
Oh boy, they had written before. It was their first album to actually go to #1 on the R&B charts, but then it did something that no other black group had done at that time, with the exception of Earth, Wind & Fire, and it crossed over into pop charts, the white folks charts. That's what it was at that time. I mean, now it's a whole, whole
but at that
thing.
time it was so segregated.
Yeah, yes, very much so.
So what were some of the pieces that you had written after Skin Tight? Like, what was that journey like? What were you coming up with?
Oh, well, before I answer that, because there's still one little quick story.
Sure.
Folks, y'all would not believe the schedule that we were on to record the Skin Tight album, because we were finished recording that album within 7 days.
Wow.
we were playing.
And this was before digital.
Yes, yes, yes. No, this is actual. You had to play every note, and if something was wrong, you had to redo the whole take.
Wow.
Okay? So the actual song was about take number 6, I think. Okay, and we were on 16 track. We were at a 16-track studio. Okay, the tape about that wide. We went through about maybe 4 reels of tape about that wide, reels like that. But anyways, we were playing a club in Buffalo, New York called the Red Pepper Lounge. And we did 4 shows there. 4 shows a night.
4 shows a night. So what time would you start?
We would start at 7 in the evening, and we'd finish at 2 in the morning.
One show right after the next in the same...
We had a show, and then a little break, and then I guess they would let the crowd out and let another crowd in.
Oh, my goodness.
And then the show, and then the break, and then let that crowd out.
And, of course, each crowd is fresh.
Right.
So you got to be fresh.
You got to be fresh. You have to keep the intensity up. But after all of that, okay, we go back to the hotel, and it didn't really make sense to get too sleepy, because then we had to catch the early morning flight from Buffalo to Chicago. I think the flight got in Chicago like at 6 or 7 in the morning, something like that. And from the airport, we go to the hotel, drop our luggage, go from the hotel to the studio, record all day until it was time to go back to the hotel, back to the airport, back to Buffalo to do the 7 to 2.
Who agreed to this maddening schedule? I mean, who?
Well, Satch did. He was the leader.
Was he getting a nap somewhere in between there that you guys just didn't know about?
I don't know.
I mean, he was just always there on with you.
I really don't know, because I was too busy eating, trying to catch me a nod, and working.
Oh, my goodness. And, we look at musicians, especially those who have risen to the top, and we just have no idea sometimes of the price that they pay to get there. Right. We pop the disc in and we just enjoy the music, Right. And that's all we know.
Right.
We're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more from Billy Beck. There's more to come with Debor'ah. The Debor'ah Show is brought to you in part by L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, located at 1951 McGuffey Road in Youngstown, Ohio. L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, honoring the legacy of life. We're back on the Valley Gold Show, exploring the life of Billy Beck. Now, we've talked about some of your writing and the songs that you've written, and some of the glory as well as some of the pain. If we can, and I want you to share only the things that you're comfortable with sharing, if we can talk about some of the challenges that you've gone through, because we know it's not been a totally victorious road, and everything has not been smooth and happy for you. And I'll start it off by, you shared with me earlier how you first got introduced to drugs. And we debated on whether or not to share this, but you talked about how you want young people to really understand if there's anything that you can do to help prevent them from making wrong choices and from trusting the wrong people, that you want to be able to take that opportunity to do that. And I commend you for that. You talk about the ridiculous breakneck schedule that you all were on. I just cannot fathom 4 shows a night, 6 shows a night. You guys are living this way, living on a bus. Here you are, away from home, the youngest one in the group, around all these very experienced, very worldly men. Because prior to, you had been in the books and in church, and that was pretty much what you knew. So now, coming into the schedule that you're on, the vulnerability that it would have left you in physically, psychologically, emotionally, and what the things that it led to.
Okay. Let's see. It led to an introduction to first cocaine, which also the same leader introduced to me.
And let me just pause for a second here just to say, a lot of times when we think about an introduction to cocaine, we automatically think one of two things, either, well, actually one thing, that, you know, you get tired, your guard is down or whatever, or peer pressure, and you finally decide, okay, I'm going to try it. But that's not the case with you.
No.
And I guess it's also important to point out, just one time can create an addiction.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Okay, because I was, we were in like doing those 4 shows or whatever, just during the skin tight period or whatever. And I was like, after about the second show, I was like really wore out. So I'm catching a nap. Okay, it's time to go on. Time to get changed. I go ahead and get changed. Okay, I go back to sleep, catch a nap. Okay, it's 5 minutes before time. I'm trying to wake up. Okay, he comes along, says, "Here, Beck," sticks it up my nose. Never seen it coming.
Totally unwittingly.
Yeah, I never seen it coming. Okay, and that does start an addiction. And addictions are nothing to play with, nothing to play with, and especially when you don't even know. Well, I did not know what it was, but I rapidly found out. But it was already too late, because then once you start that trail.
Because I think you mentioned that it burned.
It burned,
but
very
the
bad.
feeling was you had all this energy.
Right.
So I guess, especially as tired as you were, that just even made you more vulnerable and susceptible to not fight it.
Right.
So what was your journey like once you had that first hit?
Well, of course, it's almost like I expected that from him. You know what I'm saying? Every show.
So he knew exactly what
He
was
knew
doing.
exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And I came to know that, in fact, that's what he had done to some of the other guys in the group who, you know, were there before me.
And you know, it's also interesting that others who had gone through it never tried to protect you from it.
No, never warned me, never said anything. I mean, I was a nerd. I knew nothing about anything like that. Nothing.
So once you became addicted, what was it like trying to maintain the habit? What was money an issue, or was that something that was just always supplied?
No. Money was not an issue. I mean, we were a very successful group, so you know, money was not the problem at all.
Did it ever affect your performance?
No, because the one thing that I felt very, although I had the energy, I felt very uncomfortable because it wasn't real.
It wasn't natural.
It wasn't natural energy. It was jittery, unnatural energy.
And what was coming down like?
Crash, just.
So did you get to where you actually needed it just to fill up again?
Yeah.
And how frequent was your habit?
Ooh. It was pretty much all the time. Pretty much all the time. Okay. And the thing is to still be able to function and write and create and try to raise a family and take care of responsibilities whenever times we did go home, because those days we weren't home very much at all.
So if you can also share with us, what kinds of things did the addiction cost you?
Few failed marriages. A lot of self-esteem, lack of self-esteem. Probably a lot of proposed business deals, but although I might say that Satch was very good at also blocking anyone doing any outside writing.
To maintain control.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Now, during this period of time, there was another song that you had written. I believe it was during this period, so you may have to correct me. And it was something that was taken from you unwittingly. Was it during the same period?
Yes, it was.
And I think our audiences will really be amazed. You know, I mean, we see you, we hear the songs of the Ohio Players, and those things that we knew came from you. But folks, let me tell you, we still have no clue of the measure or the immeasurability of this man's gift. You want to share that experience? And when he shares this, by the way, when he shares this one kind of breaks my heart. So I'm going to try to stay strong up here.
Okay, what year was this? I think this might have been 75, 76.
Incredible memory, too.
We had a chance to audition to do the soundtrack for the movie The Greatest. Okay? Everyone remember that movie, or some people remember that movie, The Greatest, about Muhammad Ali? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we got to the studio out in Hollywood, California, and we made it, but our equipment didn't. Okay, so the producer, whose name
it's okay.
Is okay. Okay, name's Mike Masser. He was getting very, he's saying, well, these guys aren't professionals. They're a little late. They don't have their equipment. This, that, and the other. So Satch comes out and out of the control room and comes out into the studio where they're having a grand piano sitting. And he says,
during sound check, wasn't it? Was it during sound check?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't sound check
okay.
yet. No, we were still waiting on our equipment.
Okay.
Okay. And Satch comes out and says, Beck, play something so I can stall. Let me keep trying to talk to this dude so we won't lose this deal. I said, okay. I'm a team player, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm just out there just doodling around.
Anything for the team.
And you heard how I doodle around,
yes.
Because we were in here the other day.
His doodling is enough to just make you stop whatever you're doing and say, please, whatever, don't stop doodling.
and so I just kept, and I fell upon some chords that I liked, and I kept playing them over and over and over again. And before I knew it, the studio where I was, the room where I was at was cleared. Microphones went up over the keyboard. Okay, they put headphones on me, and they recorded it. Okay, but then when the equipment came, we still didn't get the contract. But they kept my song. It was the music to The Greatest Love of All.
Yeah. We can't even clap on that. So, needless to say, and that's just one of so many examples of how a person like yourself, who really is just a true and pure artist, if you don't have the covering that you need and the backing and the support system that you need, how you can be exploited.
Yes, yeah, you can be exploited, and be careful about how far you go with whom you trust, because most of the time, like my mom used to sing this old song, okay, your enemies can't harm you, so keep your eye on your close friend.
And on that note, we're going to take one more break, and we're coming back with more from Billy Beck.
The Debor'ah Show is brought to you by AO Construction and Restoration, meeting all your commercial and residential construction needs.
And we're back on the Dolly Gold Show with Billy Beck. And I appreciate your transparency and how you've been so willing to share not only the highs but the lows as well. And just a little bit more probably in this area, just so we can get a good clear picture, because we know that it's not something that's been an overnight process. At what point did you hit the wall, so to speak, and come to a realization that this has got to change?
Truthfully, I'd say probably, about maybe 2 to 3 years ago. Okay, it was when I came to the conclusion, okay, because I had already tried drug rehabs and all that, and I just surrendered, you know.
It's okay.
Basically, I surrendered myself back to the person, to my maker who gave me my talent.
I told him don't make me cry today. He does it. You know, and for those who don't understand, and we discussed this too, sometimes people think that if they don't see an immediate change or an immediate conversion, or just, you know, we like everything to be snappy. And everything doesn't always happen that way. It's great when you hear those stories about the person who returned their lives to God and just like that,
Right.
they were delivered from the addiction. But I commend you so much, Billy, because that has not been your story, and you shared that it's a continual struggle.
It's an everyday struggle.
But the important thing is you're continuing the struggle.
Yes.
You're not giving up.
No, I'm not giving up.
And I think it's also noteworthy to say that your gift has not been dampened, hampered, hindered, cut off by any stretch of the imagination. And that's something that no drug or anything else that you've gone through in this life has been able to take from you. And we all applaud God for that. So let's talk about now some of the victories that you've experienced since those days.
Well, that's another thing too. God could have done. He could have just let me be, and I would have been just, you know, another story, and everybody would have been, see, I told you. But he didn't do that, you know. I still have all my faculties. I still have my gift. I can still write. I'm in the studio right now working on a project for the daughters of the lead singer of Heatwave.
Right, Insight.
Insight. Mm-hmm. And because they didn't have any material, and they're beautiful, beautiful young ladies, and they have quite a few record companies interested in them, but they keep getting turned down because they don't have any good material.
And so now they've got the master.
And then I also I have a project that I'm going to be doing going out west in Arizona with the Latino artists.
Right. Okay.
And that's going to be upcoming.
Now, if I can just inject here, you know, he mentioned going out west, but I've been trying to get something in his head. It's okay as long as you get two-way or round-trip tickets, because this is not
an open-end relationship.
You know, and I think it's so wonderful that so many people have continuously contacted you because they recognize your talent, regardless of how many times credits have been taken from you. You know, I mean, you have a trademark. When you play music, when you put your stamp on it, people can hear Billy Beck. And we're so privileged to have you here. In fact, we're going to be hearing some more from Billy Beck. But before I just get on another wavelength, you can continue to share what else you're doing right now.
Okay, and after that, or either after that or before that, I'm not sure which one, however it's going to be scheduled. Then I'll be going to California to do some studio work out there also.
Temporarily, of course.
Yes, I mean, I'm coming back home. Okay.
Yeah, and also you guys will keep your ears open because Billy Beck and Danny Friendly are working on
a theme song for this show.
So I guess we won't keep you waiting too long. Have we covered everything that we wanted to cover?
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a worm in the ground. Yes, it is.
It is 6 feet down.